to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three Finger Joe.
Good morning. This is Rick Gleason coming to you from the University of Washington, the Region 10 OSHA Training Center. And we cover Washington, Alaska, Oregon, and Idaho. And today we have a special guest from the Alaska part. She works for the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. We just call them NIOSH usually. And her name is Laura Syron. And she is an epidemiologist working with commercial fishing and also with maritime safety and also with seafood processing. So all of those. So Laura, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Oh, great. Hey, and did I say your name correctly?
It was close.
Okay.
So it's actually pronounced Syron, but
Okay.
you were close.
Okay, so Laura, thank you so much. And hey, tell me what you do for NIOSH in Anchorage, Alaska.
Sure. So as you mentioned, I work for NIOSH's Center for Maritime Safety and Health Studies. And two of the industries that are covered under the center are commercial fishing and seafood processing. There are other industries as well that it covers, like aquaculture, shipyards, and marine terminals and transportation. But for the commercial fishing side, I work as an epidemiologist, and I help support some of the surveillance activities, so tracking fatalities and vessel disasters, and we're also moving into research on non-fatal injuries and illnesses in the commercial fishing industry in Alaska. So we'll be having a new study coming out about that. And I also work on seafood processing safety and health. So recently I conducted two studies on seafood processing in Alaska. One of the studies analyzed reports of injury to the U.S. Coast Guard that happen on board the floating factories on board vessels. The other study analyzed workers' compensation claims data among seafood processing plants, the onshore plants in Alaska.
Got it. And in those situations, then, would technically the OSHA codes apply on the floating factory fish processors and on the shore-based, would that be Alaska state OSHA rules?
Great questions. That's right. So for the onshore plants, the Alaskan Occupational Safety and Health Section, or ACOSH, has jurisdiction. For the floating factories, it's a little bit more complicated with jurisdiction. So federal OSHA has jurisdiction over the floating factories when they're within 3 miles from the shore. But once the vessels are out at sea, the Coast Guard actually has jurisdiction over safety and health for those workers.
Got it. Oh, very good. Yeah, always wondered about how that all fits together. Now, do you have any information online then with your preliminary, survey?
So the studies about seafood processing will be published soon, I hope, this year.
Okay.
So probably that will be in the fall or winter of 2018.
Okay. Wow, that should be great. I was wondering, we're having a Maritime Safety Day in Washington State, Western Washington, in Tacoma, that will be coming up on October 20th of 2018. So, but you have so much information. I was looking at the website. So tell me about the Center for Maritime Safety and Health Studies. How long they've been around and what are they looking at?
Sure. So the center was established in November 2015, and it promotes safety and health for all maritime workers, including those who are working on vessels or at waterfront facilities, as well as onshore. And the center really builds off of the fishing program's successes, because the fishing program in Alaska has been around since the early 1990s. So we're building off of those successes and the relationships that we've built with people in industry, with industry members and workers, with other government agencies, as well as with people in academia and universities. And the center, it's a virtual center that's managed by the Western States Division. So we don't actually have a building for the center, but we have people in the Western States Division in Alaska and in Spokane who are working on these issues, as well as with our extramural partners. So we serve as a hub for researchers to collaborate while we're building these partnerships with industry throughout the U.S. and throughout the world.
Got it. Okay. Hey, help us out. Like I know you've been working specifically like with the commercial fishing industry. What are some, how do people get hurt, or how do people die on the job from commercial fishing? What are the most common causes of death or injury?
Right. So you're right. It is a highly hazardous industry, and it's one of the most dangerous in the United States. So in 2016, the work-related fatality rate for fishermen was actually 23 times higher than the rate for all U.S. workers. And some of those hazards, the hazards and the risks of working as a commercial fisherman include vessel disasters, fatal falls overboard, as well as injuries that happen on the deck, maybe including hazards related to equipment like winch entanglements, as well as the work, just on the dock or while diving. So some of the interventions that NIOSH has come up with include creating vessel disaster prevention tools like hatch and door monitoring systems to ensure the watertight doors are closed and dogged, as well as lazarette monitoring to notify crews of flooding near the rudder and drive shaft, which is a common source of destabilizing flooding. And actually, one of my colleagues just published a study on fatal falls overboard in commercial fishing in the Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report. And what she found was that during 2000 to 2016, 204 commercial fishermen around the U.S. died from unintentional falls overboard. And among all of these workers, none were wearing a personal flotation device, or PFD. So it's very important that fishermen wear their PFDs, and they have a plan in place to get back on board the vessel, if they've fallen overboard, as well as the crew having training on, life-saving skills for people, resuscitation, CPR, things like that.
Okay. Wow. Great information. If folks wanted, where could they find some of this information on your website?
Sure. So our website is cdc.gov/NIOSH, NIOSH, /Maritime. And from the Center for Maritime Safety and Health Studies website, they can connect to our fishing program website as well.
Okay, excellent. So, what for the future? Now, tell us how long you've been working for NIOSH and up in Anchorage, and then what are some thoughts for what's going to be going on?
Sure. So I've been in Anchorage for the past 2 years. I actually began collaborating with NIOSH while I was a PhD student at Oregon State University. So back in 2014, I met a person who was finishing up their PhD program, Dr. Devin Lucas, and I began collaborating with him while I was still in school. So in 2016, when they needed a research assistant, I moved up to Alaska, up to Anchorage, and began working in their fishing safety program. And I'm very happy that I get to continue to work at NIOSH. I was just hired on as an epidemiologist, and I get to focus on seafood processing research now. So some of my goals for the future, now that we've done the epidemiologic studies and we've identified some of the hazards and some of the issues that the industry is facing, like musculoskeletal injuries are an issue. So for our next steps, we're hoping to partner with seafood processing companies in order to develop and evaluate safety interventions, perhaps ergonomic interventions, as well as training for people with limited or no English language skills for the workers.
Got it. Well, Laura, this is fascinating. And so tell us what the definition of an epidemiologist. It seems like a big word. So what exactly do you do?
Sure. So I think the definition is something like epidemiologists study the distribution and determinants of morbidity and mortality in a population. So it's somewhat like being a detective. So we investigate what's happening in a worker population. So we do surveillance on the number of fatalities or non-fatal injuries and illnesses. We determine that burden, how many people are getting hurt or sick or dying on the job. And then in terms of the determinants, we're figuring out what's causing these fatalities or injuries and illnesses. And then we work to develop some solutions and keep people safe and healthy.
Okay. Well, Laura, I very much appreciate you being able to come on today and explain your program and what you're doing in the commercial fishing industry and the seafood processing industry and the maritime industry overall. So again, this has been Rick Gleason coming to you from the heartbeat of worker health and safety. And our special guest today has been Laura Syron of the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health in the office in Anchorage, Alaska. And if you ever need to contact us, the easiest way for us is ce@uw.edu. So that's the letter C, the letter E, and then at, and the letter U, the letter W.edu. And again, this has been Rick Gleason. Thank you so much, and have a great, safe day. Take care.
I was young and feisty, never did things by the book. Just let me get my toolbox, and I'll take myself a look. I climbed up on the dozer, and with my mechanic's pride, said, "You can keep it running, friend, while I poke around inside." Shake hands with danger, meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety, now they call me Three-Finger Joe. Though I learned a lesson, I forgot it soon enough. The nicks and burns and scratches showed the young ones I was tough. Till another morning, I was grinding on some steel. My other hand got careless and fed my skin into the wheel. Shake hands with danger, step right up and say hello. Grinding wheels and metal, I what made me Three-Finger Joe. I've seen mechanics burning, and I've seen them take a fall just to save themselves a minute. I've seen them lose it all. I've watched them courting trouble, seen them take a chance and lose. They get careless for a moment, spend a lifetime with the blues. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger and some friends I used to know. Compared to them, I'm lucky to be just Three-Finger Joe.